The opinions and suggestions expressed on the following program are solely those of the participants and are not necessarily endorsed by KRMG, Cox Media Group Incorporated, or the program sponsors. This following program is sponsored by Causeway, LLC. Information in this broadcast is not intended as an investment, tax, or financial advice. Matthew Moore is not a licensed investment advisor and speaks solely from his experience and opinions. All information in this broadcast is for entertainment or educational purposes only. Matthew Moore, Causeway, LLC, and Cox Media Group Tulsa are not responsible for the success or failure of any person's investment decisions or purchases. Matthew Moore, Causeway, LLC, and Cox Media Group Tulsa makes no and expressly disclaims all representations, warranties, and guarantees with respect to this broadcast and its sponsors. Investing in any market is inherently risky and can be financially dangerous. Invest at your own risk. Gather knowledge in the world of cryptocurrency right now on 102.3 KRMG, Tulsa's news and talk. Welcome to Cryptocurrency with Matthew J. Moore. Matthew is locally based right here in Tulsa. Questions, comments, concerns? Call 918-460-5764 or send us an open mic using the KRMG app. Now, here's Cryptocurrency with Matthew J. Moore.
Good Sunday evening to you. My name is Russell Mills, and this is Cryptocurrency with Matthew J. Moore. We are live and local in Tulsa, Oklahoma on what has been a gorgeous Sunday. Got a little bit of cool down coming weather-wise. We had a little bit of cool down Bitcoin-wise this week, and I'm sure that's something the guys are going to tackle. Let's turn it right over to our host, Matthew J. Moore. Hey, Matt.
Hey, thanks, Russell. And I want to welcome all the crypto newbies, lovers, and experts. If you've been thinking about getting into cryptocurrency, but it's just been maybe a little bit too cryptic, we're here to decrypt everything for you and make it, put it in layman's terms. And if you're freaking out about the price of Bitcoin right now, don't be, because this is a normal occurrence. We have big ups and downs, and these 30 to 40%, even 20% corrections are normal in a bull market cycle. And I still think, in my personal opinion, I may not hit that $100,000 projection at the end of the year that I was hoping to hit. I do think we will hit it eventually, but I think we are still in for some major and fun surprises here in the coming weeks and months. And, maybe you have an exchange account. Maybe you got into cryptocurrency. Maybe you've been buying and selling already. But have you ever wondered how these cryptocurrency exchanges work? Should you keep your money on them for long periods of time? And how do you pick an exchange? And should you even care? What does it mean to tokenize something? And will stocks and real-world items be tokenized? Well, today on this episode, we'll be unpacking these things with the CEO of Shift Markets. His name is Ian McAfee in segment 2, and we'll have a wonderful conversation with him. And to help me do that is my trusted and unexchangeable co-host, Eric Cooper. Get it? Exchanges, unexchangeable.
It's always great. Matt, I wish that I could tokenize our friendship because the market cap would be infinity.
Oh, my gosh. You know what? We have to get our quota of dad jokes and sentimental comments in here before we get into the deep stuff. But Eric, let me ask you this. What exchanges do you currently use?
Yeah, full disclosure, I started out with Cash App, ventured through some eToro, Binance, KuCoin, Coinbase. It all depends on what asset. You read Twitter and you see somebody lobbying for something. You want to check it out, read up on the project. That's what's going to happen. And now we're starting to see on TV commercials and media across the country, crypto.com with FTX, Gemini, things like that. So, but currently, I think I'm down to, I believe, just KuCoin, and I do have some Coinbase stuff there too.
Okay, well, those are all great picks, and I actually encourage people to use many different exchanges if you're going to be buying all sorts of assets, because some assets are not available on some exchanges due to regulations or jurisdictions. So if you're trying to speculate into new or different altcoins in hope that one day they might go to that moon, well, you need to use different exchanges to get them. So it can be kind of tricky, and it can often be complicated and confusing for new crypto converts. And so I use many exchanges, and I like KuCoin as well. But there's always a learning curve. And I'm assuming there might have been a learning curve for you, Eric.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's right when I got started. You and I talked about sitting down and learning together. And it's hard because this isn't changing a pipe underneath your kitchen sink where you can just go trust YouTube and then follow it because, you read a wrong deal, you're downloading something, and all of a sudden you're downloading spyware on your computer that you're doing all your stuff. So I would always suggest that, when you do it correctly, do it intelligently, if you don't
Can
know how
always
to,
contact me, right?
contact Matthew J. Moore, and he would help you out. But it was because, getting money into stable coins and then watching, do you set a cap price? Do you do market value? There's a lot that goes into it. And I mean, it could be, again, when you're buying, the difference of, if everybody's buying quickly, it could be the difference of a large amount of money that you're overspending, or if it's dropping, you could be sitting in queue for a while.
Well, another reason why you might want to use multiple types of exchanges is in the scenario of taking profits. It's not uncommon for exchanges to put daily limits on what you can move off of its platform, either dollars to your bank account or crypto to another crypto wallet or exchange. And they can do this essentially because the wallets that you're using are part of the exchange's platform and they hold the private keys to those accounts. So another reason you might want to use multiple exchanges is maintenance issues or volume overload. Oftentimes, when there is a frenzy to buy or sell crypto due to massive price movements, a lot of exchanges can be overwhelmed with new users and will prohibit certain buy or sell actions. And it's all due to that overwhelming volume of new users.
Yeah, and man, I forget one because I've used Strike quite a bit. We got a lot of friends with Strike, and then Alex Leishman with River, and that's
River
actually
Financial.
where I keep my Bitcoin or bought my Bitcoin through them. So DCA, but when you have accounts that set up different exchanges, you can maneuver these problems a little bit easier. And if you have a crypto in your own wallet, which you control the private keys, and you can send your crypto to the exchanges they're operating well. I mean, You look at Twitter during an up or a down, they're going to be bashing some of the more popular ones because of them shutting down or just not working.
They're like, oh, Coinbase is down again.
Yeah.
Price might be dumping or flying through the roof.
I didn't want to say the CB word, but that's right.
But yeah, whether you want to buy crypto or you're in a hurry to take profits in dollars, you can send your crypto. If you have it in your own wallet, you can send it to an alternative exchange account that isn't experiencing problems. And so that might be a moment of relief for many people in dire moments. But, Eric?
That strategy is something that you strongly need to consider during the end of a bull market because, again, whether or not we're hitting 100K before the end of March or whatever, there's going to be days where it's intense. And it's not uncommon for the end of these bull markets for it to be a full-on frenzy or panic. And, again, some people always see a dip like we're in right now, and they go, next time it's up, I'm out, I'm done.
Right.
And so they're going to want to bounce.
Well, you know what's funny about that, Eric? A lot of the people that have been selling were the people that bought recently at the all-time highs. But the people that haven't been selling are the long-term holders. So,
AKA, like Russell always says, lock in your losses, and that just seems silly to me.
Yeah, I know. Well, if any of you are looking for some help or advice in this strategy, or maybe you want somebody to sit down with you to help you walk through this, feel free to reach out to me at mattjmoore.com. I would love to set up a consultation with you.
And if you want to get together with other like-minded people in the crypto space here in Tulsa, we're going to be holding our next in-person Bitcoin Meetup. It's on December 16th. So if you are using your Apple Notes, or if you've got a Sharpie in your car, or if you're just writing notes on the back of your hand like I used to do in geometry, on December 16th, 473 Bar and Backyard, which is located at 2224 East Admiral, Tulsa. Just search for it on Facebook, Eventbrite, type in Tulsa Bitcoin Meetup, go to Matt's website, check it out. If you're hearing it and you want to go back, you can check out the on-demand, listen to this episode later just to find out. But we do encourage you because, again, we're going to be talking about a lot of cool stuff again.
Right. Facts. Well, I'll get you the details if there's any trouble, but I got you covered here in Tulsa. At our next meetup, we'll be covering things like multi-signature wallets and security, decentralized autonomous organizations, and the blockchain trilemma. A lot of new concepts that we have yet to talk about on this show, but we'll do so soon. Each one of those could be an episode all by themselves, so we may be talking about those here in the near future. So, and you know what, Russell? I hope one day you join us at one of these Bitcoin meetups.
Yeah, I do need to come out and hang out with you guys. And you said 473?
Yeah. You ever been there? I love that
been
place.
There. It's
pretty
very
good.
cool. It's
And
a lot of outdoor space at it. That's what I like to.
And I want you to name your next fantasy football team the blockchain trilemma.
Okay, because I have no idea what a trilemma is, but it sounds worse than a dilemma, like at least by 50%. So I'm not sure I want to get all that involved. All right. Want to go ahead and take a quick time out here? Let's do that. We're going to take a quick time out, pay some of our bills here at the old radio station. By the way, I think they mentioned it, but just in case, if you ever miss an episode or you want to go back and listen, everything is on demand at krmg.com or on the KRMG app. Just look in the on-demand section and look for the little link that says Cryptocurrency with Matthew J. Moore. That'll be a clue for you. I'm Russell Mills. We're going to take a quick time out. We'll be back with more of Cryptocurrency with Matthew J. Moore on 102.3 KRMG. And welcome back to Cryptocurrency with Matthew J. Moore. My name's Russell Mills. Thank you very much for joining us this evening, spending part of your time with us on what has been a lovely Sunday in Tulsa, Oklahoma. We are live and local. So settle back, sit down, relax as we kind of take you through the land of cryptocurrencies. Our tour guide is Matthew J. Moore. Hey, Matt.
Hey, thanks, Russell. And for all of those of you who were listening to the last segment, we were talking about this next Bitcoin meetup. And if you're interested in meeting like-minded people like my co-host, Eric Cooper, who is in studio with me. Eric, can you fill the people in again when we're going to meet in person to talk about Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies here in Tulsa?
Yeah.
It is. Yeah, you got to push that button.
You know what? I always like that mic button. But again, December 16th at 473 Bar and Backyard, 2224 East Admiral, and it's going to be at 7 p.m.
That's right.
Central Standard Time. And if you want to listen to some of the fun stuff that we're going to be talking about there, be there a little bit early, stay as long as you want. If you want to go back and listen to some of the stuff that we've said in the past on this show, you can go to krmg.com, like Russell said right before the break, but also we're on now on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, YouTube, Crypto Moore. Basically, if you look up cryptocurrency and Matt Moore, you will find a plethora. You like that word?
Yeah, we're getting very sophisticated.
Nice big word.
A plethora of capabilities.
Well, before we make this a fiasco, we're going to go ahead and transition into our guest for today. We're going to go ahead and bring him on. On the line is Ian McAfee. He is the CEO of Shift Markets. I think he's in Manhattan. He might correct me if I'm wrong. But Ian, welcome to the show, sir. Please introduce yourself and share with the audience what you guys do there over at Shift Markets.
Yeah. Hey, guys. Thanks for having me on. So my name is Ian McAfee. I'm the co-founder, CEO of a fintech company called Shift Markets. We do technology solutions for businesses that want to engage with crypto assets. And our most common use type is someone leveraging our platform to run a cryptocurrency exchange.
Well, let's start here, Ian. What got you involved with cryptocurrency exchanges and this idea of tokenizing things?
Yeah, so our company started in 2009. We were in the FX space or the currency markets, and we did something similar there, where we helped people get into that space, and that was electronic trading, 24-hour market, similar in a lot of ways to crypto. And right around the time Bitcoin first hit $1,000, we got our first international payment in Bitcoin, and it basically opened up my eyes to what's possible with Bitcoin and blockchain. Once it was one of those sort of deja or epiphany type moments, I guess, where everything's kind of changed, and I started talking to my business partners, and we decided we'd make an investment, time and money into pivoting our business line over to crypto. So that was really what got us in. So now we deal with all kinds of exchanges and then other companies that are looking to add crypto to what they're offering their customers.
Hey, Ian, so for those who still need a glossary of crypto terminology, can you explain what a cryptocurrency exchange really is, and then, what tokenization means?
Yeah, definitely. So a cryptocurrency exchange, I think the best way to think about it is a venue where you go and open up an account and interact with the market. You could compare it to something like your online brokerage account or something like that, but it's designed for crypto. Tokenization is a different concept using the blockchain, where you're transferring ownership rights to these digital tokens that can be traded, stored, and reported on the blockchain. So that's some of the basics for you.
So, in your opinion, what is the most important thing that somebody should be looking for when they're using a cryptocurrency exchange?
So, it's very similar to what you would want to think about. You guys talked a lot about it in the first segment. There's a lot of good stuff in there. I think it's the most basic premise is you want to make sure that it's a trustworthy place. It is your money. And especially if it's a new asset class for you, you want to make sure that you understand who you're dealing with. I would recommend making sure that the company's been around a little while and has a reputation. Social media and reviews and those sorts of things have gotten, pretty prevalent where you can find enough reviews about a cryptocurrency exchange. And I think I'd start there. I'm a little biased. I'm a technology provider. I would say the technology is first and foremost. And that addresses some of the things you guys were talking about. If you're seeing orders stop or there's an overload in the system where the operators really can't control what's going on. But first and foremost, you want to make sure those people running the exchange are on the up and up. And I would recommend starting there.
So what is what's the idea behind creating a white label cryptocurrency exchange that you guys are doing there at Shift Markets?
Yeah. So. There's a lot of exchanges that have been around for a while, and there's going to continue to be more people to get into the space. It's going to be hard for someone new to go up against like a Coinbase if they're just starting out. What we do is we give you all the technology to run your own exchange. So we have the matching engine, the app, the whole tech stack that allows you to operate the exchange. The white label portion basically means that you can attach your brand name to it, and we're underneath the whole thing. So it's a cool concept for anyone that really wants to get into the space, or if your business has some customers that might be interested in crypto-based services, but you don't want to build out the technology to do so.
Ian, out of all the stuff that you guys do over there, all the products, services, what's really drawn the most attention from people taking a look at starting their own exchange, and why, I guess?
Yeah, I think what businesses are realizing is they're losing users. They're losing users to people that do offer crypto. If you're a bank, if you're a financial services provider, and you're not offering crypto, you're losing customers. You're especially losing the younger generation where they're looking for those sorts of assets. What you're gaining when you do it is you get those customers back, and you also get a lot more engagement. We've seen pickups of, from someone that's offering traditional financial products to crypto. I've gotten statistics around 10 times more engagement with, by having crypto on your platform than not. So if you're any sort of provider that interacts with customers and you want them, if you want to get their attention, that's the way to do it. And that's the reason why our number one product is the platform. It lets you do payments, it lets you do trading, and it lets you do deposit and earning crypto as well. So that's why we're seeing a lot of popularity there.
So if I'm a bank and I see things like Coinbase and these other exchanges making bukus of money, and the banks want to get in on it, could they utilize your white label cryptocurrency exchange services and provide a exchange within their bank?
Yeah, that's what we're seeing now. Is we do see entrepreneurs who start up and want to offer a crypto exchange. More recently, we're seeing more traditional financial institutions that don't have crypto, that don't want to build out the whole crypto ecosystem, and they just kind of plug us in the background. So, we didn't do PayPal, but PayPal did that. They got a big boost from it. There's other players that are going to do that and are doing that now. And if you're in that position where you're offering financial services, I would highly recommend thinking about it.
Well, when we come back, we're going to talk more with Ian about the future of crypto exchanges and tokenization. Stay tuned because we have more great content.
Thank you, Mr. Moore. Well spoken, sir. A reminder, next Tulsa Meetup, December 16th at 7 p.m. They're going to be at the 473 bar there on Admiral. Again, it's December 16th at 7 p.m. Matt will be there. Eric will be there. And I don't know if they bribe me appropriately. I'm kidding. I'm going to try to be there because I do need to hang out with you guys a little bit more. We're going to take a quick time out. You are listening to Cryptocurrency with Matthew J. Moore. We are live and local on 102.3 KRMG, Tulsa's News and Talk. I'm Russell Mills. Hang with us. We're going to do the news, we're going to do the weather, and then we'll come back with more crypto. Thanks for tuning in. Welcome back to Cryptocurrency with Matthew J. Moore. I'm Russell Mills. Thanks for tuning in. We are live and local on 102.3 KRMG, Tulsa's News and Talk. Today we're talking about cryptocurrency exchanges. Should you use one? Should you use several? Do you know which ones to trust? Just some of the topics that we're covering today. And the man who's leading us through our conversation is Matthew J. Moore. Hey, Matt.
Hey, Russell. Yeah, that's right. I use my full name, Matthew J. Moore. Makes me sound smarter. Makes me sound like I know what I'm talking about. But we're here to talk about cryptocurrency. And like Russell said, we're talking about exchanges. You know, what kind of exchange should you use? And what should you consider when looking at one? And what does tokenization mean? And to help me through this conversation, before we bring back on our guest, is Eric Cooper, my handy-dandy trusty co-host.
Matt, I always appreciate your introductions. And today on our show, we've got the CEO of Shift Markets, Ian McAfee. And we're talking a little bit about his white label cryptocurrency exchange software that you can purchase. So, I mean, if you're listening now and you've got a financial institution, a bank, something like that, you know, a small business, and you want to implement some ability to send and receive and I guess trade crypto, this Ian is the man for the plan, and with Shift. And Ian, I see on your website you use the term CeFi vaults. Can you describe to the difference between CeFi and DeFi for our listeners, and then, you know, kind of what kind of different products you offer for both?
We have CeFi and DeFi products. The website primarily looks at the CeFi products, CeFi being the centralized products, meaning you don't all the transactions aren't on chain, they're through our software. So we offer basically payments, trading, and deposit and earning with that platform that we have.
So, Ian, share with people the kind of returns or interest you can get when you use these kind of vaults. Well,
it's in the digital sort of economy, there's different supply and demand for dollars. A lot of people like to buy crypto, and they do so. They sometimes borrow money to do that, and the interest rates are a little bit higher than what you would see at a bank. So you might see something like 5 or 10 times more using sort of a digital dollar than you would with a regular dollar. And again, I know your show mentioned it. It's not investment advice, and just my personal opinion, but there's quite a bit higher yields that you can get from when you look at those sorts of things.
Right. Yeah, and it's definitely freaking out the status quo, the traditional financial system, because people are going over to crypto to basically get a better return on their money. But Ian, one of the things that you guys offer is this ability to tokenize assets. And can you explain to the audience why a company might want to tokenize its shares of ownership on a blockchain?
Yeah, I mean, it's basically efficiency. If you think about what goes into tracking ownership, the ability to do that electronically, just like how everything else kind of moved online, money hasn't. It's a little slower. There's more, repercussions to money if it doesn't work out. But transferring assets electronically is much more efficient than transferring it via the legal system. If you have ever bought a house, you do a title search. They spend a lot of time looking through old documents, things like that. With blockchain, you can see the full ownership history. You can see transfers. You can do transfers quickly. You can do transfers cross borders. You can report the cap table immediately. And you can see pretty much everything you'd want to see around both the current cap table and the history of the cap table. And it lets you do things a lot more efficiently. And I think you're going to see a lot of movement towards this way of doing things in the future.
Right. We're witnessing the internet of value. And in my opinion, if it can be digitized and if it can be decentralized, It will be. And the internet was the decentralization and the digitization of information and communication. And what we're witnessing with cryptocurrencies and blockchain technology is just that, but with money and value, which, in my opinion, is going to be a greater disruption than we saw with the internet and greater opportunity. Do you see, Ian, the future of, like, let's say, the entire stock market moving over to the blockchain due to these ideas and efficiency?
I do. The stock market was pretty quick to adapt the internet. Obviously, it changed how the stock market works dramatically. I see a very similar sort of thing happening with blockchain. If there's a better technology out there to do something, and there's money at stake, people are going to figure out how to do it. And I certainly see the stock market and many other markets moving over to the blockchain.
What other items are you seeing, possibly getting tokenized in this near future?
There's a lot of people talking about real estate. There's things that are a little bit easier too, like digital applications. Like if you're playing a video game and you want to, move your character from one game to the next, things like that, and buy, different things in the game and move that cross game. Those sorts of things are picking up a lot of steam. Art, collectibles. There's a big. Miami's art balls are going on right now. A lot of NFT down there, taking over the art scene. You also have commodities and things like that. So pretty much anything that's an asset that you can trade, I see eventually moving over to being on chain.
Right. Well, speaking of that, you mentioned NFTs, you mentioned these other assets that could eventually be tokenized, and obviously NFTs are a part of that. And, and I think that it's going to really surprise a lot of people about, what the world is going to look like 10 years from now. What part of all of this evolution has got you most excited when it comes to the cryptocurrency space and blockchain?
I think just the openness to the market that most people don't have. Most people with various accredited investor rules and just a lack of access, you don't have a lot of people just don't have access to the best type of investments. They're limited to things and limited to going through intermediaries to get to them. With the blockchain, I think you're going to see a lot more markets opening up, things that you maybe not even thought of being as a market before. I was talking to one client who wanted to tokenize horse breeding and track the lineage of horse racing. So that's a pretty wild idea, but still, if you know a lot about that market and you want to trade that's something that you could do. I just like the idea of access to things, and if you open it up for everybody to be able to participate in these markets, that's what I'm getting most excited about.
Yeah, it really lowers the barrier of entry to a lot of things. I mean, you hear a lot of people talking about banking the unbanked through cryptocurrency, because there's this large just portion of the global population that doesn't have access to, financial services and bank accounts and decentralized finance. Offers that as well as, the overall cryptocurrency space. And we're going to go, me and Eric, we're going down to Miami for the Bitcoin conference. We went last year. We're going to go down this year with media credentials. Ian, just out of curiosity, were you down there at that conference learning with everybody else?
I was.
Really?
I'm glad you guys are going. I know that you guys are connected to the show, and I think that's awesome. We're definitely going back to next year's show as well. Really big audience. You could see the excitement for the industry down there. But I was definitely down there.
Ian, so one big thing, obviously, when you disrupt methods that have been in place for years, you made real estate comments. If you've ever gone into an abstract company, or if you've ever seen John Wick, the way that they're doing everything on chalkboards and whatnot, like, what's the biggest, pushback that you hear when people, kind of say, like, let's tokenize the abstracts for house and the archives? What's the biggest pushback that you get?
I think it's just that they think that it's going to not be safe. And I think it's just a lack of understanding of how the blockchain works. It seems like it's this really sort of new age sort of thing. But when you really look at it, it's just a better way to store data. It's not promising necessarily any more than that. It allows basically you can publish data across the entire blockchain and have it where no one can change it back, and that has a lot of value to it. So I think people are just resistant to it. There's a lot of businesses that make money doing things the way that they are, and this is a potential to disrupt that. That's really just overcoming that hump. Once they do that, I think the benefits are really clear.
Well, let me just clarify something real quick. For those of you who are unfamiliar with what an NFT is, it means non-fungible token, and essentially that is the idea of tokenizing an asset. It could be art, it could be an in-game, character or weapon, because you can use this stuff for video games. I definitely think that's going to be a big part of it. But tokenization and NFTs, these are something you need to get familiarized with, because I do think it is the future of the economy, the digital economy, in order to create things to be unique, scarce, and original. I'm sure you get that question a lot, but I actually, just from a listener, is like, hey, be sure to tell everybody what an NFT is. So, because it is the frenzy right now. And Ian, before we jump to break, when it comes to NFTs, do you think this craze of NFTs is going to react differently in a bear market, kind of like we saw with the ICOs in 2017?
I do. I think that we're only seeing the early use cases of NFTs. I think it's important not to necessarily tie what's happening right at the moment with all what's possible of NFTs. I think art right now is having a major comeback. Artists today are making a lot more money than they did a few years ago, which is a cool thing. There's this huge demand for graphic artists right now because of NFTs. And it's an exciting time to be a part of it. There might be some volatility associated with the NFTs that you buy, but in the long run, I think the applications of NFTs with memberships, with loyalty points, with all kinds of other business applications aren't going to go away.
Yeah, I can see those as being like an added value to a lot of things, not just computer games.
Definitely.
There could be NFTs when you buy a house. I mean, the mind boggles with all the possibilities. We'll come back with more with Ian McAfee and, of course, Eric and Matt right after this quick timeout on KRMG. You're listening to Cryptocurrency with Matthew J. Moore on 102.3 KRMG, Tulsa's News and Talk. Welcome back to Cryptocurrency with Matthew J. Moore. We are live in the big city of Tulsa. My name is Russell Mills. Thank you very much for spending some time with us this evening as we sort through all the intricacies and talk about cryptocurrencies and non-fungible tokens and all kinds of cool stuff. And we've got a special guest today, but I'll let Matt tell you all about that. Let's welcome back our host, Matthew J. Moore.
Hey, thanks, Russell. We're here having fun talking about cryptocurrency, and don't worry, this show, we're going to close it out with a bang, and to help me do that is my explosive co-host, Eric Cooper. And that is not an angry explosion.
Several interesting adjectives hurled at you today, sir.
They've been very, very, very good. But and we have Ian McAfee with Shift Markets. And Ian, welcome back again. We appreciate you joining on with us. I do have a question for you, because I've worked with some white label products in the past. And if you are looking, you want to go to shiftmarkets.com. That's Ian's website. You can go in and find out a little bit more about their product. But Ian, when it comes to someone purchasing from you guys, what does your onboarding look like? Is it a pretty kind of easy help? You've got a client specialist that works out, or is it just a super intuitive setup?
Yeah, thanks, Eric. So the product is we have a great process for how one interacts with the training and the onboarding. First you talk to one of our representatives, and they can explain and demo the product for you, so you can see what you're getting. And after you kind of decide you want to move forward, you get set up with someone that stays with you for the whole relationship, and they touch base with you on a weekly basis to make sure things are going well. And we also have a 24-hour support team. Given crypto is a 24-hour market, we have a support team dedicated to our clients as well. So there's training, there's explanations, there's demos, and there's a support team there for you as well.
That's terrific.
Well, Ian, you guys deal with dealing in cryptocurrency exchanges and products and services. We hear governments talking about being concerned more so about stable coins, which is just a token that's backed one for one with some kind of asset. It could be a piece of gold. It could be, an ounce of gold. It could be $1. And a lot of people use these stable tokens, especially the ones that are, U.S. dollar based, to trade in and out of cryptocurrencies, to hold balances on exchanges. And really, I think the governments are more concerned about the stable tokens destabilizing the financial system more so than they are with Bitcoin. So if there's a big crackdown on stable coins, is that a challenge for your business? What do you see coming?
Yeah, no, it's a really interesting question. I think governments do care a lot about that. They don't like people messing around with their currency, and they're a little more defensive about how that works. It is a challenge, I think, because it's important to have more traditional currencies in the on-chain so you can trade those as well. You want to be able to trade something that represents that. And I think there's going to be, I would say a crackdown, but it's certainly an investigation into which stablecoin providers are actually, fully backed and which ones aren't. And just like anything else, there could be a bad actor in there somewhere. I think most of the larger players they have licenses, they're well represented, they've raised a lot of money. I think the bigger guys are going to be fine, but there's certainly going to be an investigation about are all these stable coins fully backed, and there's a lot of discussion around it. It's been an ongoing topic, honestly, for a long time, and there's never been kind of like a smoking gun to say that there's a problem, but it's one of those things to keep an eye on.
Ian, so up there in Manhattan and New York, you guys are pretty close to Wall Street. What has their reaction been to what you guys are doing? Yeah,
I mean, early on, there was a lot of skepticism. The market's too small; they don't understand it. One thing about Wall Street is they like to make money, and you can always count on that. So as Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies have gained value and the markets are getting more developed, you see more and more people coming over. You see banks, you see brokerage houses, you see pretty much everybody nowadays looking to get into the space. Now it's at a point where I think people are feeling like they might have been too late. And that's what we're seeing with some of our client base. It's like, well, we should have done this a long time ago, because it's growing fast, and that's the reality of it. And things are changing very quickly with this market. So now I think Wall Street, if not is there already, I think most firms are going to be dealing with it almost completely in the next few years.
Well, Ian, just real quickly, we got to close the show here, but where can people find you and your services?
Yeah, so our website is shiftmarkets.com. You can look us up there. I'm on social media. You can find me on Twitter or LinkedIn, or probably the two easier places to get me. Ian McAfee, just my full name. If you search that on those platforms, you'll find me there.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. We appreciate it.
All right, you've been listening to Cryptocurrency with Matthew J. Moore. A couple reminders real quick. The next meetup here in Tulsa. If you'd like to meet some people, look them in the eye and talk about this stuff. December 16th, that's a Thursday, 7 p.m. at 473 Bar, 2224 East Admiral. Be there or be square, as they used to say. Hey, thank you so much for joining us tonight. We'll be here next week. See you then.